Welcome to Rob Nagy's Rock and Roll Legacy. For more than 4 decades as a freelance music journalist, I had the honor and the privilege of interviewing countless music icons in rock and roll, jazz, R&B, and blues. It was a priceless journey that began in my late teens. I never imagined I would one day cross paths with so many of my music heroes. For this latest episode, I selected a 2020 interview I conducted with singer-songwriter Jill Sobule, which I hope will be a memorable journey for you, the listener, while also helping preserve her legacy for future generations. Widely recognized for her 1995 singles I Kissed a Girl and Supermodel, Sobule rose to international prominence with her fearless songwriting and distinctive voice. Releasing more than a dozen albums and EPs throughout her career, while also appearing on numerous soundtracks, artist compilations, and tribute recordings, she secured her standing as a groundbreaking and highly respected artist. Sobule often explored deeply personal and socially relevant themes, including her struggles with anorexia, depression, social injustice, and LGBTQ life and identity. Her semi-autobiographical musical, Fuck 7th Grade, which opened in New York in 2022, was nominated for a 2023 Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Musical. Jill Sobule died tragically at the age of 66 in a house fire in Minnesota in 2025. You are about to hear an unscripted, never-before-broadcast interview with the late Jill Sobule. You've got a record coming out?
We're going to re-release it. I had a record that came out of last October, November, called Nostalgia Kill. It's one of my favorite records I think I've ever done. It got nice reviews. We're going to do a little re-release while I'm working on re-releasing and trying to get back on my old record.
What are your expectations for the re-release, and when is that going to be? Is that going to be September, I think I saw?
I am going to find out.
Okay.
So we're going to find out, but, you can get my new record, which I really love. I think maybe my second best record.
How'd your show go last night? Did it go well?
I had a house show last night. I've been doing these house concerts, and they're fantastic. They're all so different because I think I have such a varied fan base.
Right.
So, this was a really interesting group of people, and it was really fun.
Right.
And, I like I said, each one is so different.
Is that something that you're routinely doing, the house concerts along with music venues?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more fun. I really love doing it. Plus, I was always, I'm a storyteller, so it's casual. They're always different. I like the intimacy. Some artists don't, they like that wall between them and the audience, where I've always liked the feeling that I'm on someone's couch. Yeah. So I've been doing it. I've been getting some really crazy ones, too.
Right.
I've got 1 and 2 in Hawaii that sometimes I use these as just excuses for vacation. And I got 1 in a sheep farm in October in New Zealand.
Oh, wow, that's very cool.
That's going to be the best audience I'm ever going to play for.
Yeah, that is very cool. Well, you're such a personable person. I mean, I don't know you, but I feel like I already do know you. I feel like we're friends, and...
Well, yeah.
And
I didn't used to be, but I I'm a people person.
Right.
Yeah.
So you shed that rock star mentality then?
I don't think I really ever had it. I knew what it was.
Yeah.
I think it was starting later in life when I didn't have my first share.
Right.
With flying in,
Yeah.
holiday in Denver, Colorado. I love how, when it happened, I was it was kind of like the new, just starting overnight kind of sensation. And it's like, no, I worked this for 10 years. It's
a tough road, as you know, and clearly an artist like yourself has had to work hard in order to get what you've gotten so far. I mean, are you happy with where your career is at this point?
Well, I always, there's one song on the new record called Almost Great, and I always say that I could, I think I'll put on my tombstone, she had potential,
Right.
I always think that some of my peers did, and I don't know if it was because I never, the cliche played the game. I never went after. I was either too lazy or willful to say, okay, I'm going to just figure out how to make the next hit song, and maybe I should have done it. It was like after the record that had Kick the Girl and Supermodel, I was like, I want to make a really weird, depressing record.
Right.
But then there's things like last week I was at Will Call to get tickets for a musical in New York, and the guy said to me when he saw my ID, and he kind of was gobsmacked, and he goes, you are responsible for my mother taking away my MTV.
Oh, no kidding.
and I go, because obviously the guy was, very flamboyant and gay, and I said to him, well, I guess I did work, did it? And he laughed. And then last night at the house concert, people were saying that there was these a couple cute people, younger people who said, when they were in junior high, that song had some sort of impact on them as now self-described queer people. And so I think, like, you know what? Maybe I maybe I did an okay job. But the thing is I'm continuing. I'm probably hungrier more than ever now to do, to do more. And there's more things that I'm doing. It's more varied and actually more exciting.
Well, as we get older, I know I'm going through this myself, going through a reinvention. I was just talking to somebody last night about it, actually. I think life, as you get older, if you're in touch with yourself and who you are and what you want to be, I think we're constantly reinventing ourselves as we get older. And I think that's a good thing.
When I first, had success, and you're the kind of younger and new thing, and if you don't follow it, like become a panelist on The Voice or something,
right.
As you get older, whatever people do, then you're kind of like, one hit wonder, the two hit wonder, you're a nostalgia act, and then, you're over, but then I think something happens as you get older, like, if there's something turns, and you can become a legacy artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think, like Peggy Lee or Diana Ross, you could be Miss Jill Sobule. So maybe now you're a legacy writer.
Right.
See?
Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't. I think you have to embrace that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because, we're both artsy people. I'm a musician as well, not nearly at your level, but I'm a writer and a photographer and a filmmaker and all that. And I think that, we carry a bit of a burden too, being artsy people, because most people aren't like us.
Yeah, we do. We have a little monkey in our back. But the one thing that was good about it was I started when I did, because there was people did buy music. It was pre-Spotify. They complained about the labels, like tour support. And, there's something to be said that we started at a time when people had product. I remember growing up and having product where you could see, you could hold it. You would buy a record or even a CD and you'd see credit. And I don't know how a person starts right now unless and lives in New York City or LA, unless they're a trust fund kid.
You had mentioned previously too that you're a storyteller. What defines you as an artist? Are you a storyteller, a musician, a vocalist, a performer? How do you define what you do?
I've always been a bit of a song and dance man, whereas, like you said, I just don't want to sit and just look at me sing my songs and my experiences and my pain. I want to, I think, again, when I look at what I do, is sometimes is a social service. That's the least you're entertaining someone for 3 minutes in their maybe miserable life. That's a good service. Part of I think figuring out what your forte is, and I think I have a performance thing, but I also think that musically, I think that lyrically, I mean, there's I tell little stories and talk about them, and you know, that's I think of myself as a storyteller in a way, and that's probably why this transition to doing more theater and doing got a one-woman show coming up next year it probably makes sense for me.
You know, when people come out to see you perform, you know, what do you want them to experience when they come and see you, and what would you like them to go away with?
Well, it depends. When I'm in New York or in LA, I have my band, you know, so I have, it's more kind of rocked out, but even when I have other people, it's very, I never really have a set list. I just kind of wing it and kind of feel out the audience. It goes on tangents. It could be a little ADD, but I think, yeah, I want to engage people. Like even when it's a bigger venue, I want to feel like I'm on someone's couch and like, okay, come on, here's some songs.
But yeah, it sounds to me like you really like the personal connection as opposed to a lot of artists that keep that wall up, as you said, that you really like the personal contact with your audience.
Yeah, I was always once that liked, you get the feedback. So there's some people that when there's a show and the lights are out and they like just seeing like the little black heads. Like you remember the old cartoons where just the audiences were little dark round heads.
Right.
They couldn't see. But I like the lights on where I can see expression and figure out, okay, where do I go? What would be the next best song or story?
Have you reached a point where, I mean, have you surpassed your expectations, or have you not reached your expectations?
I mean, no, I'm not at my expectations, and I can be really hard on myself, saying, God, what was I thinking? I didn't pursue this or pursue that, and like I said, on one hand, that kind of keeps me going, whereas some people would say, you know, they'd become a snowbird and go retire in Hawaii or something. But I'm not satisfied. At the same time, to keep in perspective, that when I was in Denver, Colorado, you know, playing open mic nights, would I have thought that I'd be doing things that, you know, like in November, I'm singing the song as myself on The Simpsons. You know?
Right.
I mean, that's not to brag, but it's a cool one, and it's just to say, if I would have thought, even though they just have The Simpsons don't do it yet, but to think that the things you've done already. But it's not, you know, I guess it's both. You know, I think both of it's kind of healthy in a way.
Your song "Kiss the Girl," I mean, that had to be a huge turning point for you.
That was a trip, I have to say. And you know, I look back and wonder if there's ways I could have dealt with it differently. But you don't know. I mean, there was no role models. There was no precedents. There was no. I didn't have any mentors. I mean, when that came out, that was way before. You know, there was the big Ellen kiss. That was before there was, you know, an L word or even queer as folk, I think. And, you know, so when that came out, and I really didn't think it was going to make the record, but I really did want to have a song that I wished I would have had as a kid. I wish I would have, you know. But the label at first was a little daring, but then I think they kind of freaked out and then tried to transform that as you know, here's a little fun novelty song, and to taking kind of the bite and the queerness out of it. And with like the video, originally we were going to have the video's hysterical. I still think it's great with Fabio, and it was me and the neighbor girl. We're going to have an actual kiss, and that would have been friggin' revolution. I mean, that would have been amazing.
Right.
And they chipped in at the last minute and showed me having Fabio's baby. You know?
Oh, jeez. Wow.
But yeah, that was kind of. It was also a mixed bag because here I had success, and you wanted to be known as a songwriter, but all I was having questions about Kiss the Girl and being on nutty morning shows and people saying, hey, what's it like, Kiss the Girl? And I didn't know quite what to do at the same time. A part of me wanted to be more forceful, to be more, forceful and more radical, but I was stuck in the middle because I didn't want to be known as here, which it was anyway,
right.
Just the girl, and not because I didn't want to be a fan of everything, but it was like I wanted to, my mentors were the songwriters, the John Twines, the Joni Mitchells, I probably could have handled things, as again, I'm being hard on myself, figuring out how to balance that better, but, it was, which should have been also one of the most enjoyable times of my life to have that. It was fraught with a lot of inner conflict and dealing with like that time period, 1995, where the song was banned on some stations in the South, and I had to deal with it. My friends, my guy friends, are all weirdo artists, right?
Right.
And my girlfriends are, they're just more varied. But when I had a party to watch the football Super Bowl, it was all the guys in the kitchen, and these are like artists and musicians, and it's all the girls who were watching, like, and all the guys are in the kitchen, and we're like yelling at them, "Stop talking about feelings! Shut up!
Oh, that's funny.
Where's the beer?"
Yeah.
It was so funny. It was so the opposite of the stereotype, and we all laugh about it so much.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But that's an artist thing,
Yeah.
writers. And most of my writer friends, guy friends are, they're not like guys.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you would.
you were saying
Yeah.
the queer thing, I think it's generational too, because I think it's taking it back that I know people, and it doesn't bother me to say queer, because I know for years and years that's been used as like faggot, queer.
Right.
And I think it's people taking it back, and I also think it's kind of an umbrella. I mean, for some people, they'd rather say queer rather than LGBTQ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm on that cusp where, it's hard to say because it was always so derogatory forever. But I think a younger generation of queer or LGBT or gay or lesbian are going to say, that does not bother them. They're more open to diversity and the underdog. As you can get older, you can get creakier, or you can, be more like, whatever. Like I said, I think what's exciting is I still like my art. I'm not satisfied. I'm not done. I'm not ready to retire. I want to do more.
What would you like, because you've got a very loyal following and you've got a really, really dedicated fan base, I know. What would you like your fans to know? What would you like to say to your fans?
Oh, my God. What's the thing is, people ask, like, my house concerts that I've been doing. It's weird. Even some of my artist friends, like, isn't that weird? Have you had some really bad experiences? And I swear to God, I can't think of one bad experience. And it's because I have a feeling that the people that like my music are kind of smart and funny and nice, and people that I like in general.
Is there anything on the horizon other than the re-release of the album and work on new materials or anything else?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, I'm working on a couple shows. But there's one where I'm actually I'm in it. I'm a thespian, so it's called Seventh Grade.
Right.
And it's going to be Pittsburgh City Theater starting there in the month of April or May. And so there's going to be a re-release of all my catalog. Fuck Seventh Grade. I'm going to be on The Simpsons in November. And thanks. I'm going to get ready and get out of here.
All right. Have a great time. Have a great weekend. I'll look forward to speaking with you soon.
A gifted artist whose life was sadly cut short, revisiting Jill Sobule's interview was both a sobering and inspiring experience. I admired her honesty, kindness, and unfiltered spirit. She is deeply missed both on stage and off. Thank you for taking a walk with me down memory lane. Until next time, peace, serenity, and blessings.